well, for her take on all the developments around the Nigerian governorship and state assembly elections, we're joined now in the studio by the former BBC and Times of London journalist, Donu Kogbara, who's currently a well-known newspaper columnist here in Nigeria. Donu, thank you very much indeed for coming in, and thank you for your patience.
Can I just briefly update my introduction?
Sure.
I write for Africa Report magazine and for Vanguard as well.
I must, we must make a note of that for future reference. But, I mean, you are, of course, on the Nigerian side of things from Rivers State. Yet another election there sent into crisis and turmoil. What's your assessment?
It's shocking what happened in Rivers State on Saturday. It's a disgrace, it's a travesty. I'm sure that Mr. Fubara, or Sir Sim, as they like to call him, won in his backyard, which is Opobo, which is a very small part of the state, and he probably won in other little pockets. But the idea that substantial opponents like Magnus Abe of SDP and Tonya Cole of APC, the idea that they got no votes, almost no votes in their own areas, is ridiculous. These are highly respected political figures.
Certainly, yeah. Well, Magnus and Tonya, you're absolutely right.
Yes.
And what do you think is responsible for the kind of politics we see play out in Rivers State every election cycle?
Honestly, I don't know why we have to be the poster boy for murder and mayhem. A friend of mine was killed on Saturday. His name was Leonard Chisholm. You've probably seen the body bag pictures all over WhatsApp, all over the internet. He was a campaign coordinator for Tonya Cole of APC, which, by the way, just goes to show you that I'm not always against APC, as some people think. And I don't know what happened, but he was murdered. Apparently, he was trying to defend the vote in his ward, in his area. And we used to sit together on a board during many years ago, River State Government Board. And may he rest in peace. Now, why we would have developed in this way is something that's a mystery to me. Some people blame Odili, the governor who was there between 1999 and 2003. He served 8 years,
yeah,
yes.
Okay.
I don't think that's really fair, because I mean, every time I ask people, they say it's Odili and his boys, you know, because every person who has been a governor since the military left has been a former protege of Odili, and it's like, oh, he must have had some kind of tutorial college where he taught them how to be thugs, right? Or taught them how to, recruit thugs, even if they were not thugs themselves. I don't believe this. I just don't know what it is.
But there seems to be some sort of latent hostility there, that they kind of dust off every 4 years and, bring it out of the sort of the wardrobe, and it comes again, and the tensions come back with a vengeance.
I know. It's like a sort of subliminal mortal hatred that sort of like simmers and then flares up every 4 years. I don't understand it. It's very worrying. I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
It's a disgrace.
Yeah, it's an exceedingly worrying trend, and in fairness to people in Rivers State, it's not just Rivers State. I mean, we're seeing it where it wasn't prevalent before. We're now seeing it. It's like, hey, let's imitate the places where things are going bad, and let's do it all again. But let me talk to you about, because you sent out a tweet earlier, I think today or yesterday, about the Bayo Onanoga saga. What do you make of the continuing controversy over his ethnically divisive statement about Lagos? Because you commented on that.
Okay, well, I'm very disappointed in Bayo Onanoga because he's a member of the chattering classes, the liberal intelligentsia, or an intelligentsia that's meant to be liberal and enlightened. Yorubas generally, especially people in that Lagos Abeokuta axis, are also generally, in my experience, very, enlightened. So I don't know where all this is coming from. And there's actually another tweet that somebody, or well, there's a social media post that's been doing the rounds of Bayo visiting the Genocide
Yes, I saw that.
Memorial Museum in Kigali in Rwanda and bemoaning, lamenting the violence caused by tribalism and ethnic hatred. And for him to turn around a few years later in his own country and make comments that can trigger off that kind of, well, I wouldn't say genocide, but a lot of ill feeling, and it could flare up into something that even he perhaps did not anticipate. I would also like to ask Bayo, okay, Lagos belongs only to Yoruba, so you don't want to hear anything about it being a melting pot. Okay, but half the money you spend, or more than half, comes from where I come from. I mean, you know, there's an
That's
oil
River
well.
State.
Yes,
yeah.
there's an oil well named after my village. So, okay, if we want to all be really selfish and exclusionist and tribalistic, why should Yorubas like Bayo get 1 penny of oil money? Because, I mean, so ours is everybody's and his is his. It's disgraceful. And Lagos was built with the sweat of several ethnic groups, including Igbos, including Niger Delta people like Atedo Peter's side. And yet again, I'm compelled to say that, thank God, not every Yoruba is misbehaving. A lot of our Yoruba friends are very embarrassed and have kind of tried to apologize on his behalf to me privately. People, I think there's far more opposition to what's happening.
Yeah, but what I don't understand is how much support and protection he seems to enjoy from his principal, Bola Tinubu, and his APC party in making what is clearly a very dangerous and divisive statement, because they haven't come out openly to condemn the statement.
Well, they obviously think that their sort of grassroots core supporters want to hear this kind of stuff. Or, I mean, that's the only explanation I can come up with. Is that it's what they call dog whistle politics as well, isn't it, really? You're making all kinds of remarks here that Femi Fani-Kayode is another culprit, you know? But, you know, I'm more worried about Bayo because he has a history of sanity, you know, unlike Femi. So I really hope he apologizes. You know, we can all say rubbish when we're under pressure, even to our nearest and dearest. Bayo, apologize. Please, tell people you didn't mean it.
Okay, I hear what you say. You say when it comes to national resources, we are all one Nigeria. But when it sort of comes to local politics, the likes of Mr. Bayo Ononuga can think that Lagos is for them and not for us, as to say, all Nigerians. But doesn't that really point to the issue of politicians, you know, exploiting the fault lines, especially during election cycles when it suits them the most? Because I've worked for Mr. Bayo, unfortunately, many years ago. I never saw him like this. I never spoke like this. And I've had other colleagues say that we worked with this man who was never like this. Not to talk about individuals here, but again, the fault lines that politicians continue to exploit during election cycles. Isn't that the problem really here?
Well, it's cynicism, really, isn't it? You say what you think will give you an advantage. It may not necessarily even be what you really mean or what you really feel, or maybe all those years that we saw, I don't know Bayo really. I mean, I just see him as a respected media colleague, right? But I know lots of people who know him. Maybe he wasn't the civilized man we thought he was. Maybe he was just hiding in the corner, waiting for all this bile to spill out when he thought he was in a powerful position. You know, because now they're being a bit triumphalist. They are the president-elect's team, and perhaps they think they can say what they like. But you know, even in Nigeria, there are limits. And I hope that all this bad belly doesn't come back to bite us all.
Right, and of course lots of we saw lots of voter apathy, technical issues, some BVAs not working, the BVAs not working, the integrity of the process called into question. I mean, broadly speaking, once again, as in the presidential poll. Does all this leave, in your assessment, the legacy of President Buhari in tatters, or is there still a sort of shock-absorbing capacity there still?
It's not good for the president's legacy. It's very unfortunate. He appeared to be sincere when he said that was something he wanted to leave us with. But then you see there's such a thing as what you call lame duck leadership, whereby you're on your way out and your powers are waning. Maybe, I don't know how much control he had over all this. Some people think that he was pretending all along, he was in cahoots with Tinubu, and he was determined to do whatever it took to achieve this alleged victory. I don't see it that way. I just think maybe there wasn't enough of an iron fist there to control a narrative that I think he would have preferred to be more flattering to his reputation.
Donu, thank you very much indeed. Always a pleasure talking with you. Donu Kogbara is the former BBC and Times of London journalist. She's currently a columnist for Vanguard newspaper and the other publication,
Africa Report magazine.
Africa Report magazine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.